So this morning we'll start sitting on our block. So you can cross your legs in any way that feels nice and comfortable. You just want to be able to be in a position where we can sit up nice and tall. And allow ourselves to get those sitting bones down into the floor in a position where we can start to bring the pelvis into more of a neutral position. So trying to be aware of whether the pelvis is tilting forwards or backwards or rolling out to the side can sometimes be a bit tricky. Sense of sort of feedback that you get from a sitting position and from a standing position can be very different. Sometimes just bringing the hands onto the hips and kind of rocking them forward, sideways and around a little bit gives you a bit more idea of what positions you're capable of moving that pelvis into. And then kind of using your judgment to work out, yeah, that feels neutral. That's easy for my spine to sit up nice and tall. That's the place I can sit. And then once you've done that, you can turn your focus into your breath. Just slowing it down a little bit, letting the mind catch up with the breath. We'll take this into a little bit of a twist, so we'll turn to the left. And we'll take it over to the right side. Just easing ourselves around. Not really pulling too much on the arms. It's more there for a little bit of reassurance and balance. And come back into the center. We'll just take that into a little bit of a side bend. So I'll walk the fingers out to the left. Allow myself to drop the elbow down, but try and keep the sitting bones on the floor and the right knee close to the ground. And then we can take that right arm up. And you can start by just taking it up towards the sky. If you feel more adventurous, want to take it out to the side, you can. But so one will give you a little bit more of a stretch into the armpit, but both will give you a stretch down the side of the body. And then we'll press away from the floor and come back up and see how it feels. And see if we can do the same to the second side, or maybe we can't. Sometimes your body just goes, yeah, now I'm going to play. We're going to do something different. Again, just having that little stretch up, see how it feels. And then if you want to take it further, you can. Just letting that arm lengthen out. Might feel very different from one side to the other, even if it's achievable. And we'll press into the floor and draw ourselves back up. Now we're going to come down onto the floor, and I'm going to start off with the block behind. Just put that there for the old head bone, and then bring the feet in. Let ourselves come down. Wriggle the shoulders out and the hips a little bit. And then let the knees wander in. We're going to take some little circles with the hands on top of the kneecaps. So these are slow. Allow yourself to exhale as the knees come into the center and draw in towards the body. And as you take this, it's a really slow, mindful movement. A slightly longer breath perhaps than your natural breath is. Gives you a chance to draw the abdominal muscles down and in, and start to lift the tailbone in towards the body. So you're starting to get some juice into the hips, but also working into those lower back muscles as well, and switching on the abdominals. If you just kind of whiz your knees around in circles into a frothy mess, you don't really get quite such a benefit. And we'll take that a few times in the opposite direction. And we'll bring the feet back down onto the ground, close in towards your bottom. Take the hands out wide, loosen the radiator pipes. Shimmy over towards the left side with the hips, and then let the legs roll down onto the right. If you feel good in the neck and the shoulder area, you want to turn the head the opposite direction, by all means do. Feel a little bit tight in the shoulders, just keep the head looking up towards the sky. And then we'll bring the knees back up again slowly, reset to the center of the mat, and roll out to the second side. So this slightly longer pause in this pose gives us a bit of an idea of how the muscles are feeling in the back, but also in the hips as well. Ease the legs back, bring ourselves back into the center. Going to draw the right knee in towards the chest, take the hands around the shin, draw it in towards the body, and then lengthen the left leg out. So that right knee really could go into three different positions. One, it can come straight into the chest, so your right knee and right pectoral are aligned. You could take your right knee out to the armpit, take it out further to the right, or you could draw it over to the left shoulder. So today, we are using the straight down the middle version. And we'll release, slide that left heel in, change over to the left knee coming in. And then when we feel ready, just slide the right leg down the center line. Foot is flexed. The whole of the leg points up towards the sky. So some of us, that's going to be more internal rotation needed than others. The lengthening out of the leg will naturally start to draw the tummy muscles in. And use quite a bit of arm strength to draw that knee in. You can flex both feet if that feels good. Energizes all the muscles in the legs, or you can leave the left foot a little bit more relaxed, your choice. And then we'll release and bring both feet back in, close to the bottom, hip distance apart, ready for bridge pose. And we'll move the block out from behind the head, very important. And bring the hands down both sides of the body, palms face down, a little wriggle of the shoulders underneath. And then I'm going to turn the heels out a fraction. Start to roll the pelvis up towards the sky. Lift the back away from the ground. Let the chest open. Press the shoulders, the back of the triceps into the floor. Lengthen the thighs and the buttocks away. Breath at the top. And then roll that spine back down. Take a nice breath at the bottom. And then roll the spine into the floor again. Tailbone lifts, and then the hips start to lift up. Draw the thighs forwards, buttocks forwards. The whole body starts to lift up and open. We can press a little more into the arms. We take a breath at the top, and then we roll it back down again. Coming up for number 3. And again. And we'll take one last lift. Now bring the heels in more into the center line. We draw the right knee in towards the chest. You can bring the block back underneath the back of the head, if this one, and the hands are interlaced low around the back of the right hamstring. I'm just going to lengthen that right leg up towards the sky, flex the foot back, and try and let the leg lengthen out. Now, as we do that, we're going to pull the pelvis and hips and the abdominals down into the ground a little bit. And noticing whether your leg and your foot is starting to rotate out to the side. If it is, see if you can turn the hip a little more into the center. We'll take that as the last breath. Bring the foot down on the exhale and swap it over to the second side. So just easing our way in. And we'll bring that foot down to the floor. Draw both knees in towards the body. Going to wrap the arms around the shins. See if we can get hold of the elbows. If you can bring yourself into that kind of tight ball position. A little roll on the spine, keeping the chin in. A couple of breaths here. And then we release. Roll onto the right side. Use the hands to press into the floor to lift up. And we'll bring ourselves back into cat-cow. So we'll come into the very front of the mat. Fingers spread out, shoulders over the wrists. Have a little maraud from side to side. So not only are we stretching the fingers, but all of the tendons and ligaments in the hands and getting a little bit of juice into those wrists. Into the shoulders as well. You can let the rear end kind of sway out a little bit if you feel like it. A little bit more marauding style. And then we'll come back into a nice neutral position for a couple of cat rounds. Draw the chest forwards, draw the belly in, let the shoulders spread out wide. Inhale forwards. So that's our cow. Exhale it into the cat. Inhale forwards. Roll it out. Last time coming forwards. Last time rolling it out. Big spread into the shoulders. And then into neutral with tuck the toes underneath. Sit back onto the heels. So trying to have the heels underneath the sitting bones rather than rolling out to the side. Push into the hands a little bit. Belly drawn in. So getting a nice toe stretch going on. We'll lift up just enough to untuck the toes and then sit down fully onto the heels. Let ourselves take the body upright and arms out wide. And we'll just bring that left arm across right arm up into eagle arms. Bring the palms together. Let the elbows lift up towards the sky. So a little bit of rotation in the shoulder joints, a little bit of extension and flexion in the spine as we let the chin drop and the elbows coming towards the body. Inhaling up. And exhaling through. Following the rule of 3. And then opening the arms out. Cross over the opposite way. Palms come together. Inhale, elbows, chest lift. Draw it back in on the exhale. Abdominals into the spine. Top part of the back gets the stretch and middle. Bottom of the spine doesn't really do quite so much in this variation. And one last time. A joyous lift up towards the sky. And then drawing ourselves back down. Loosen the arms out. Take them up towards the sky as you breathe in. Bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, index finger lifts. You stretch the arms up even more, and then we'll just slowly timber forwards. Drawing ourselves down. Bring the hands to the ground. Take them out as wide as the mat. Lift up onto all fours, tuck the toes underneath, and we're into down dog. Walking out the legs a little bit. Now I'm going to take this down dog up a notch, to say the least. So come into a nice steady position and lift the right leg up towards the sky, keeping the hips square. But float on the breath in to a plank. Press back gently and lift the hips up into that down dog and bring the foot down to the floor. And then we'll take the left leg up nice and straight. Draw it through. Shoulders over wrists, lift up and press back. Try and keep the legs straight. Bring the foot down and do 3 to each side. So right leg lifts, come forwards. We go back. Foot comes down. Left leg lifts, just in case you forgot. Coming forwards. Inhale it back up. Foot comes down. One more time to each side. Inhale up. Foot comes down. Last lift. And then the feet come down to the floor. I'm going to walk the toes into the front of the mat, into that forward bend, come up onto the fingertips. Feet are hip distance apart. We'll bring the hands onto the shins to lift up halfway. Fold back down. Lift up halfway. Fold it back down. Lift up halfway. And fold it back down. Take the arms out wide. Flat back, soft knees. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Take the hands wide again. So deep reverse dive. Down and out. And we'll bring the hands in towards the heart. I'm going to shake everything out a little bit and walk towards the back of the mat to find my block. Have the feet just in front. Bring the toes together, a little gap for the heels, and then hands into the heart. Going to squeeze the knees together a little and soften them down so we sit down. Try and keep the spine nice and long. They come down low enough so that we can take this into a twisted version. So we'll take a little breath. Take the left elbow across to the right. Press the heel of the hands together. Have a little look at your knees. Make sure that they're still side by side and aligned with each other. You haven't got one that's charged forwards. And thinking about your pubic bone being over the center of the line. So if you think your bum is hanging out to the left, it probably is. Allow yourself to look to the right, open the chest up, press the heel of the hand together lightly. Last breath here. And on the exhale, we'll slowly rotate that round and take it to the side B. Still trying to lengthen the spine out of the pelvis. Roll the chest round up towards the sky. Last breath here. Back into the center. Let ourselves lift up to the hands high on the breath in. And then towards the heart. Going to use that block since we're here. Take the feet onto the corner edges of the mat, toes out gently. And then we're going to slowly slide down the imaginary wall behind us that isn't there. And try and keep the pelvis in a neutral position so we come down easy. Take the arms out wide and let ourselves lift back up. Exhaling down through. And that's the last time coming up. Hands into the heart. Take the feet back into parallel and off the block. Exhale forwards and down. As your hands come to the floor, just going to move the block all the way to the back of the mat. And then slide your fingers back towards the front of the mat into down dog. Keeping the hips high on the tips of your toes, we walk into the front of the mat. Bring the hands onto the hips, long spine to lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. So belly lifts, thighs lift, knees soften, weight is on the toes. Fold it down gently. Take a breath as you arrive and take the right foot to the back of the mat into the lunge. And take a little breath here and allow ourselves to just take the hands away from the floor and bring them alongside the body as we lift the chest a little off the thigh. I'm just going to check out your peripheral vision that your front knee is over your ankle, not forwards. And then keeping the back leg strong, we're going to lift the hands forwards to follow the line of the body, palms face in, and then slowly lift ourselves up into a vertical body. Just finding our balance, taking a breath, and then we drop the back knee down towards the ground. And lift it back up as you exhale. We come back down. We lift. We come back down. And lift. And down. And lift. And one last time. And then bring the hands to the floor. And we'll step it back into down dog. You come forward into plank, to half plank. Knees can be on the floor as an option. Elbows into ribs, shoulders back, bootlaces change. Inhale up, breath in. Use the hips to lift. Exhale, back into that down dog. And then the right knee comes in, and the foot comes through. We're into the lunge, little scratch. Don't have to do that bit. Take a breath, push off the toes, forward fold. Let the toes come in deep. On the exhale, bring the hands onto the hips to lift up and lengthen. And then we'll take it to the second side. Inhale high. Exhale down. This time left foot back. Find your balance. So there's a little lift, test, then sweep the hands back, lift the chest, strong back leg, everything feels good. Turn the hands forwards, long body, slow lift. And we begin. Take a breath in, exhale down. Inhale it up. Now your breath might be slightly different to mine, not a problem. As long as you remember to breathe in and out continuously. So holding the breath really doesn't do us any favors. Although this uses some big muscles, and it seems like our body has increased in weight dramatically as we do this. So the temptation to hold the breath a little bit is high. One more drop down. Last lift. Hands come to the floor and back into that down dog. And float into our plank. It's a half plank. Choice is there. Finally back into that down dog. I'll draw the left leg in, take it through to the front of the mat. Lunge. Press off the toes. Hands on the hips and lift. Inhale high, hands through the heart. Exhale low. Now we're going to take the right foot back again, but this time we'll drop it in, ready for warrior two. So bring hands alongside the thighs. Let yourself the cartwheel open. Inhale the hands in towards your heart. We're going to take advancing warrior. So we turn the chest, press the palms forwards. Right hand goes to the front of the mat as we lean over the front thigh. Left hand presses into the back of the mat. Draw the left hand forwards and let yourself open back up into your warrior two. Hands into the heart again. Turn the chest. Let yourself lengthen out. Left arm floats around. Right arm lifts. Coming back in. Floating out. 2 more. Last one. Open up into warrior two. Take both hands high. Then down to the floor. Back into down dog. Into plank. Half plank. Up dog. Down dog. Simple as that. We'll draw the right knee in into lunge. Strong back leg. Drop the hip down, let the chest lift. Push off the toes into that forward fold. Drop it in deep. Bring hands onto the hips and lift. But very shaky legs at this point. Inhale high. Exhale down. And we'll take that left foot back. Drop the heel in. Check our alignment. Bring the hands alongside the hips. Open up into our warrior two. Hands into the heart again as we breathe in. Turn the palms forwards. Left arm extends forwards. Right arm presses back. Then the right arm comes under. We cartwheel back out. Hands in towards the heart. Rotate. Press and lengthen. Float the arms through. One more time. Float both arms towards the sky. Rotate and down to the floor. Stepping back into that down dog. A few breaths here. Inhale forwards. Half plank. To up dog. Strong legs lengthening back. Down dog again. A few breaths here. Time to draw the belly in. Allow the heels to move towards the back of the mat. Check the hands are flat. Draw that left knee in. Final lunge. Allow yourself to sink in. Get as low and deep as you can. Push off the toes. Sink in deep. Hands up the hips. Let ourselves lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. And exhale down to the floor. We'll take another breath here. Bring the hands onto the shins. Lift up halfway. Exhale down. Lift up. And down. Final lift. We'll step it back into down dog again. And this time we're going to work on some hip rotations. So we'll draw the right leg to the sky, then bend the knee and bring the heel in towards the body and flex the foot and spread the toes. So keep that position with heel into butt. And we're going to draw the right knee in towards the chest, holding the down dog. Take the knee out to the side and lift it up. So make those big circles. Inhale it forwards. Exhale it out. Try and keep the shoulders stable. So minimize the rocking around, which generally means the standing foot needs to be stable. If you're rolling around on the ball of the foot a lot, and the rest of the body is going to kind of follow. But one more rotation out. Lift it as high as you can. And then bring the foot back down to the floor. Taking a breath. Draw the left leg up towards the sky. Bend the knee. Heel in. Flex the foot. Toe spread. And then it's those hip circles again. So one big circle out to the left. Draw it back in. Number two. Not sure which leg feels like it's doing more work, the standing leg or the lifting leg. Number three. 4. And 5. And then bringing the foot down to the ground. And take a little breath from here. Draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through. Come up onto the fingertips. Now we're going to take hands forward just a little bit. So we're on fingers. And we'll draw the back foot in a little bit of a step. And we're going to lift up on the tiptoes of the back foot and slowly let the front leg straighten. So we're going to be on tippy toe on the back leg. Front leg is flat to the floor. I'm trying to get that to be as straight as we can. Fingertips are still on the ground. And we'll soften the front knee. Bring the hands back in line with the toes. Step it into the forward fold. Fold all the way down. Bring the hands onto the hips. And a slow lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. We'll step it back into down dog. And then we'll draw the left knee in towards the chest and bring that foot through. And then take the fingers forwards that little bit. Shoulder distance apart. Back foot drops in. Up onto the tippy toe. And then slowly let that front leg straighten. So the hips should feel quite well aligned. The tailbone is moving towards the back of the mat, up towards the sky. The front leg is very much extending out nice and straight. Foot is flat to the floor, so we get plenty of weight into the ball joint. It's a big ask on that front leg. A little bit of cramp maybe in the calf of the rear leg. A couple more breaths here. Still trying to lift up and press down at the same time. And then soften the front knee. Step it back in. Bring the hands onto the hips. Ooh. And let ourselves lift up. Inhale high. Bring the hands into the heart and exhale the hands just down by the side of the body and shake out the legs a little bit. Whew. Warm-up's done. Only took 40 minutes. Let everything relax. You can close the eyes if that feels good. You can turn the palms forwards as well. It helps open the front of the chest a little bit and the shoulders back. Think about the pelvis alignment into neutral. Try to get the weight even through the 4 sides of your feet and let the toes spread out a little bit. Bring our hands in towards our heart as we take a breath in. Exhale down to the floor. And take that right foot to the back of the mat. Drop the heel in. Come back up into warrior two. So hands alongside the body and we open up. Once we arrive, we'll take a little breath. A bit of a sweat going on. Allow ourselves to extend forwards. Forearm onto that front thigh and take the top arm up towards the sky. So it's going to windmill that round. So the hand, or the arm rather, comes right past the face. We're looking to the side, keeping the chest open to the long side of the mat. And we'll take one more rotation. And as the hand comes back towards the pelvis, we'll lift the body up into warrior two, straighten the front leg and extend over into triangle pose. Taking the top arm towards the sky. So the front leg's already had a little bit of a taster of this. More breath here. Soften the front knee over the ankle. Let yourself lift back up into warrior two. Float the arms towards the sky. And then the hands will come onto the inside of that front leg as we come down. Spin the back heel. Let the back knee down to the floor. And we're going to walk the left foot off of the mat. Turn the toes out a little bit. And then allow ourselves to reset the hands so they're shoulder distance apart. I'm going to take a little breath from here. Lift the chest a little bit, so we're lifting out of this right shoulder. Going to take the left hand forwards and up, rotate the body. And as the hand starts to move towards the back of the mat, I'm going to bend the knee and bring the foot in. See if I can find the toes and ease the heel in towards the buttock. Now the left foot stays flexed and you can let the knee roll out to the side a little bit so it's starting to open the hip. Try and keep the belly drawn a little bit. And then we can release, bring that arm back over. Let ourselves step back into down dog. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Bring it through into our lunge. Take a breath. Press forwards. Sink in deep into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips to lift. Soft knees and lift up. Side B. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Left foot back. Drop the heel in. Coming up into warrior two. Open it out. Lengthen forwards into that extended side angle. Top arm lifts. We inhale. Roll it around into the big windmills. Last time, taking it to the sky. As it comes through towards the hips, we use that little bit of momentum to lift into warrior two, straightening the front leg as we arrive, and lengthening out to triangle. So the body still lengthens out from the pelvis. We rotate chest up towards the sky. Try and keep some weight even through both legs. They're getting tired, a little bit shaky maybe. One last breath. Bend the front knee, we come back up into warrior two. Lift the hands high and the hands come on the inside of that front leg as we come down. Spin the back heel, let the back knee drop to the floor. Walk the right foot off to the side. Set the hands back up, ready. We know where we're going. We turn the foot out a little bit. So off to lift the chest. Push away from the ground on that left shoulder. Take the right arm up. Big rotation. As it starts to go back, bend the knee and see if we can get the foot and the hand to join. Now, sometimes you just have to look back and bend the body around to find the thing. You know it's out there somewhere floating around, but it can be a bit tricky to find. And then let that right knee hang out to the side a little bit. You can see that got a little bit of a bend in the elbow, drawing the knee or the heel in towards the buttock. You can get right into the sitting bones with that heel if your hip flexors and your quads are going to be coping with that. Otherwise, you could even use a strap or the trousers to hold on to. Take a last breath here, and then release the hands back up and over, and we'll step it back into our down dog. Now this time I'm going to draw the left in towards the body and bring the foot through to the front of the mat. But we're going to take a little cheeky walk around to the long side on the right. Turn the toes in a little bit. Lengthen the back out first of all. And then on the exhale, we'll fold down through the gap. And lift the hips high. And then we'll lift up. Walk the fingers around to the front of the mat. Step it back into down dog. Bring the knees to the floor. Back into that hero's pose. So sitting down gently on the heels. Hands on the thighs. Taking a breath or two. And then we're going to slowly let ourselves sit on the ground. So we'll take the legs out in front and bring the block a little closer in. Take the legs out. I'm going to start off in Dandasana. We're going to be on the floor for reasons which will become obvious in a moment. And set hands back a little bit. Sort out the flesh underneath the buttocks. And then sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back, flex the feet towards you and lengthen the feet away. Now at this point I'm kind of glad we're back down on the floor because my legs are ruined. They're trembling, shaking, wobbling, feeling like plates of jelly. So if you're feeling the same, it's not your imagination. That was tough work. Slow, dynamic stretches are strong. Okay, take a little breath from here. Bring the left foot in and cross it over and then turn towards the right and let the hands come one forwards and one backwards. And we can release from there. Just make sure we're set up again nicely for the second side. Draw the right foot in, bring that across, try not to lean back. It's about keeping the pelvis lifted and in that neutral position. Turn round to the left this time. Front foot is still flexed and pointing up towards the sky, and the leg is lengthening out gently. And then we can release from there as well. So we're going to use that block to come back in again, lift up, bring the soles of the feet together and close in towards the body. And then I'm going to hook peace fingers, so middle finger, index finger around big toe. And just allow myself to sit up nice and tall, so neutral pelvis position. And then let the thighs just drop down, lifting the heart a little bit as we do. Now, if you're not able to hold on to the toes because you can't physically get the legs in close enough to do that, that's fine. You can hold on to the shins or the ankles. So still drawing the belly in a little bit, so we're helping support the spine. And we're going to release from here and let ourselves come into Shavasana. So just gathering the legs up, putting an extra layer on if you need to. And knees high, hands behind, just to support ourselves a little bit. And then bring ourselves down, hands out to the side. Take a little breath, slide the heels out to the corner edges to start with. Just lengthen the legs out. And then checking how the pelvis feels. Mine, when it came into that, still left me in a position where the arch in the lower back was quite steep and the pelvis was tilting forwards a little bit. So just needed to wriggle the sitting bones out a little bit further to bring it back more neutral. And then when we get that, we can soften off the lower back muscles and the hip flexors and the groins. It gets easier to relax down to the floor. Let's just turn off those big, powerful muscles. And slowly we start to move the fingers and toes. And let the wrists and the ankles join in a little bit. Taking some deeper breaths. And then have a nice big stretch. And we pull the legs in towards the body slowly. And give ourselves a final little opportunity for a hug. Or rock on the spine, whatever feels good. And we'll roll gently onto the right side. We'll take a breath down there. And then on the exhale, we use the hands to press into the floor to lift up slowly. And ease ourselves back into that sitting posture of choice. Then hands in towards your heart. So take a breath in. Exhale down to the floor. Drawing the belly in. Sealing your practice. And inhale, lifting back up. The head lifts, the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day. I think I might stay here for a little longer.